He's coming in, yeah. Let's see.
All right.
If I turn my mic, you can hear me. All right, we're live. The magic is happening.
Look at
And
that.
Joey, what's going on, dog? March 24th, 2023. Anything coming up?
Yeah. Let's see. I've got a countdown timer. Let's in 25 days, 6 hours. We're migrating to Solana. So
Okay.
that's exciting.
That seems pretty exciting. I'm getting a ping from Scott saying, like, hey, you should do some stuff on moving from the blue to the black app.
Yes. Yeah. We've been beating the drum of like just use the new app. The old blue app is going to start to look much more pared down fairly soon, and the migration path there is just to like pop over to the black app, throw in your 12 words or 24 words or whatever it is. Like you import your wallet, or you use the migration tool, which exports the private key, um, and that will sort of awaken your wallet on the Solana chain, and everything is golden.
So
It's
once it's
pretty
in the
seamless.
black app, you don't need to do anything else, right?
Yep. Yeah,
Like
you're
from
good
there,
to
it's
go.
just all magic. All right.
Yep. But all those normal disclaimers around security apply. Like, be very careful with your 12 words.
Yeah.
If you're not sure if the app that you're downloaded is legit, like go to our website and find it there. Like make sure it's the right one, and you're all good to go.
Yeah, that's an interesting thing. Is there's going to be some scammers out there who are like, "Oh, this is a great opportunity to snake a bunch of HNT."
Yeah,
So,
I haven't seen anything particularly scary yet. Maybe our community managers have got a closer eye on some of that stuff, but
yep,
we're really trying to keep an eye out. And as soon as we see anything like that pop up, you just gotta like yell
just
about
hammer
it.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
right on, Travis. Good to see you, Bobby. What's going on, Brad and Vision Grid? Vision Grid. I've been seeing you a lot more on maybe Twitter and here, but I feel
Me
like
too.
I meet all these people in real life, and it's like, "Hey, my name is Sam," and then I have no idea what your handle is. So it's like, who's this dude? Yeah, Travis
So
is asking, will any other third party apps ask for 12 words?
if they do, push back. Like
Excellent
nobody
question,
should be.
Travis. Yeah, no one, no
It
one
is
should
an
have your 12
excellent
years.
question. So, actually, to elaborate on this a little bit, the Helium Wallet app does something really neat. So, you can sign a transaction using the Helium Wallet app without ever sharing those 12 words. And we did that, we built all that functionality explicitly so you can keep those things very safe. So, if an app is asking you, like, oh, you need to do this to onboard your hotspot or do any other sort of thing like that, they built their app wrong, and they should go use this functionality, because there is no reason you should ever have to like reveal that. Is very sacred information.
Yeah, and in fact, I'll put an extra piece on that, Joey, because I was at one point not anything to do with Helium. I was going to stake Ethereum, and I had a bunch of Ethereum. I don't know, 20 some Ether plus whatever in my wallet, and I was going through, and I totally thought I was getting support, and the guy's like, "Hey, put your 12 words in here," and I was like, "This seems kind of weird." I'm having a conversation with him. He's like, "No, it's just like the mainframe server is down the double, blah blah blah," and I was like,
Mm,
"All right, fine, that seems okay," and I lost all of that. That was about this
rough.
time last year. So just there is there's no reason that I can think of that anyone should have your 12 words other than the Helium app. So the kind of big attack vector there is making sure you have the right app. But as Joey's saying, so far, we're not seeing anyone spoof that thing yet.
It's the password to your bank account, your social security, whatever analogous thing you want to throw
Yeah.
at it. But yeah,
Yep.
may we all learn from your tragedy. That's
Yeah,
rough.
totally. Totally. I tried to be as public as I could about it at the time, but it, and
It
I guess it stings a year later, but not that bad. It's just like, fuck it. It's monkey bucks. Like I made a bunch of them. Sometimes you lose some of them.
I mean, the thing is, it's like like they have everything to win and nothing to lose,
Yeah.
right? These scammers, and so they will be as creative as they can. They will spend like they will find out more about you. They'll
Yep.
figure out that you've got an Amazon account or
Yep.
whatever it is,
Yep.
and try to make it look as legit as possible. And that's how you get fished. It's
Yeah.
rough.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Let's see. Travis is asking about apps using deep linking. Thank you for these set of questions, Travis.
yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
that was kind of what I was touching on.
Yeah.
Just like if you onboard an app with like the Seed. I'm wearing my Seed shirt today. The SenseCap app, right? It's not going to ask you, at least it shouldn't, ask you for those 12 words.
Yep.
It's going to say, load this wallet app and then, authenticate via that. And that's that deep linking that we're talking about.
Cool. Super cool. So there's like two parallel kind of lines of effort going on here, Joey, and I feel like a big part of one of them, and I've almost nothing to do with the other. The one I don't have anything to do with is the Solana migration. So I've got to get up to speed on that, which is probably good for everybody because as I get up to speed, I'll share out what I'm learning.
Mm-hmm.
But the other line of effort is the sensor side, and dude, I've been going hell for leather on that thing, and that is. It's like we're all looking around our desk like, oh, here's like 9 more sensors that I got. Like I'm fucking awash in sensors.
I got to stop doing that because they are literally all around me.
Yeah. So one thing I'm seeing, I think that's really interesting at this point is I had a really cool conversation with 𝗪𝗏, who we met in not Barcelona, in Lisbon, right?
I've run into him a couple of times. He's great. Yeah.
Yeah. With 𝗍𝗏𝗂. And the stuff that guy is doing, I don't think he said he's not quite ready to share it yet, but when you see that, it opens your mind to like, oh, this is what the future is going to look like. The dashboards that he has, the way he's organizing information, the way he's going after clients, the size of the projects they're doing. You're like, I'm just doing like these little, like, oh, here's a soil moisture sensor. Here's a couple at a plant nursery. Here's, in my kind of big dreams, like maybe there's 100. That guy is 10 to 100xing, excuse me, what I'm thinking of. And God damn, it's just like all of the stuff that people have been talking about with Helium. I think it's pretty close to happening with this sensor stuff.
I mean, it's happening all around us. Like, well, I mean, you brought up two things, right? There's this sensor side and there's this migration thing going on. And the migration has been a sort of a buffer to a lot of people going and deploying. Like we hear a lot of feedback of like, I really want to go do this, but there's going to be something, right? They don't know what it is.
Yep.
And so they're just waiting and looking. And so we've got our April 18th deadline. We are, full board aiming for release there, and we're lined up for it. Like we were ready to go. I think what today?
Hey, Joey, come on! It's in the can.
Yeah. It's in the can. You wanted to hear it, yeah. And so, like now we have this extra buffer time, and our sort of oversight committee on that side, like they're like, yeah, let's buy us more time, and so we're doing that.
Yeah.
But anyway, it's going to unlock like a bunch of people that want to go do cool stuff, right?
Okay, that's where you're going with it. Yeah, totally. Let's see, Brad, or who is that you're talking about? Oh, 𝗍𝗏𝗂 is the name of the company. 𝗍𝗏𝗂𝗏. 𝗪𝗏 Mako at 𝗍𝗏𝗂.
We got to get him on the show. I love talking to that guy. Him and his team are just awesome. Yeah.
Yeah. We were on the phone, on the whatever Zoom for an hour, and it's just like one thing after another. Like, oh, check this thing out. This is how we're thinking about this. This customer wants this. This is how we're doing this sensor thing. And for kind of deploying sensors is not especially anywhere in agriculture, in government, in whatever, like everywhere. That dude's like, oh yeah, try this sensor. I've tried all of them. Let's see. There's one other giant effort that I pay zero attention to, and I guess to be totally honest, I have a little bit of disdain for it, although it's just me being an asshole, is the token price. And I know you probably can't talk about it, but
No.
yeah, it just seems like such a dumb goddamn thing. And all these people, complaining about, oh, I can't, whatever, Binance delisted. Is that bad news for Helium? Like, no, it's just like some power move asshole thing that's going on in the background. Don't fucking worry about it. Just build. Like, it's not that goddamn hard. But people get wrapped around the axle. And I know, again, it's not something you can talk to, so it'd just be a one-sided conversation if we have it.
Yes, we have an actual general counsel on the foundation now who is.
He's sitting just
come
off
after
camera.
Me. Yeah, I know.
It's like, hey,
exactly.
Not a word.
Yeah.
Well, cool. Let's talk about sensor stuff. So one of the things I'm seeing, Joey, then is that I need that a couple folks on the chat have helped me with Red Sky Recon and Travis. And I'm sure there's other folks who are watching, it's almost like I need a full-time decoder guy or girl, because all of these sensors that come on, have their own decoders, and almost all of them are set up for TTN. And what I'm seeing is problems with, like, the TTNs don't work for helium. And then in my kind of stuck upness, I want a decoder that's written that says like 𝗪𝗀 decoder on the top or whatever it is, or helium decoder on the top that's shareable to everyone and that just works. And one great example of this that is, I don't think it's Nikki that's working on it, it's Rock, is the new 𝗪𝗀 soil moisture sensor from 𝗪𝗵𝘁, that red one.
Yeah, yeah.
I can't get that thing to work yet. And it's like, it's frustrating because I want it to work. But I just don't know enough about like what is going on in the decoder. So I think Rock ordered some, he's going to be working on them and getting something out there, but it's like,
Yeah,
go
we
ahead.
need a standard. Yeah, it's like
Okay.
it will like, and the problem is like there's that XKCD of like we'll just make another standard, right? Like there's a bunch of people that have kind of like had various ideas around this. Yeah, I've heard some stuff from the Lore Alliance. We see like Cayenne as a sort of standard there.
Yep.
I've been kind of excited about like protobuffs, which is a way of sort of packing in byte stream data. It's what we're doing with the
Huh.
oracles.
Okay.
Um, and it's, you know, the general idea is like there's just like a consistent format and you say these bytes are for this and you're off to the races.
Yeah.
Um, but I don't know, maybe that's something that like ChatGPT figures out. You're like, this is one example, this is another example, and it spits out a decoder for you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. I've been
yeah.
actually, I've been seeing Jamie Dubs has been on Twitter, like just hammering on this Chat GPT AI stuff and having a ton of fun with it. I was actually thinking on my walk this morning, like I got to reach out to him and be like, hey, dude, like how would I do this? Where I just dump all the decoders I find into Chat GPT and then have it spit something out back at me that I can use. So
Good work. It could be
yeah,
an interesting thing to try, especially if you've already got an example.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And there's examples
yeah.
on all of them. You can get them. I mean, um, and I think the other thing is I was talking with Nick Huff at Uplink Engine. I think we were talking till like 10 o'clock last night on various things, which is unusual for me. I try and get in bed earlier. Uh, and he was saying the Njinko sensors, the decoders are really well written, but they're not written
Hmm.
specifically for helium. So he's like, there's nothing wrong with the code. I guess it's really clean. But
Yeah.
figuring out how to make it work on helium is the problem. So
Hmm. Maybe we just throw a little guide in docs and you know, like here's a if you're coming from this is how you throw in a couple of the right words and you're off to the races or something.
oh, that'd be
I
rad.
don't know. Yeah, I know. I'm always open. Like I've been doing a ton of work on docs this past week.
Yeah.
And speaking of Chat GPT, like I I had it build a widget for me like faster than I could even type the code. It was wild. I was like, given given our migration status based on this API, tell me if we have started the migration or not, and if we haven't, give me a countdown until April 18th, and it just like
Dang.
perfect.
Okay. And I'm seeing Neil in the chat saying that ChatGPT. So I think the answer is ChatGPT, and I just have to learn how to use it and not, not fart around with it and be like, oh, write an essay as if you're a teacher who likes pizza, which is what something that Liam did, which was amazing to see. Fish on Discord, he came on. I think the Gristle crew and gave us a demo of it, but
Mm.
I just my mind didn't open up enough to see that. So there's a bunch of geeks in there. Look at the codex. All right. I think this is one of those things where what I want is basically a page, like gristleking.com/decoder or helium.com/decoder, where you find the decoder for this thing, for this LSYS, which is way smaller than I thought it was, that little CO2 monitor. And they
Hmm.
send you the TTN code and you copy and paste that into a field on helium.com/decoder, which doesn't exist yet. And it just spits out like, here's the helium decoder. Done. Like that's what I
Yeah.
that's what I want, Joey.
Let's do it like that spinner can go for like 4 hours, and in the meantime, we're just like sending it over to a Discord server where
Yeah.
people go
Yeah,
figure it out.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
that'd be rad. Let me catch. So I think the decoder thing, like, and I think there's a really strong and healthy audience and or segment of folks in the helium community who will just do this stuff for free. And God knows those guys and girls have helped me a ton. You've helped me. I think that's been really good to get this thing off the ground. And what I want to see, it will be, I think, to my kind of personal detriment, but to the benefit of the entire community, is we start seeing people say, hey, for $50 a decoder, I can write a decoder. And so it makes it so you don't have to be in some secret server. You don't have to be in some channel. You don't have to be anywhere. Like, you don't have to look around and try and find the right person. Is that there are folks who are like, oh yeah, that guy can write you a decoder. And there's a couple folks like that who have been doing it. I've watched them do it, but I think that, like, decoding as a service, and maybe ChatGPT just takes it over, but I want
Yeah,
to see
I
that
mean,
be
you
the
always
one.
it helps to kind of know what you're looking for too. So even if you are trying to automate some of those things, you got to be able to test it. You got to be able to, like, put it in a couple of different states and stuff. So
Oh, really? Okay.
yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, I think there'd be totally room for somebody to, like, do that service.
Yeah,
You know, $50 might not be enough, but maybe $100 or something is enough for somebody to, like, throw an hour or two at it in their
totally.
evening and
Yeah,
crank
yeah.
something
And
out.
if that's you and you're watching this and you want help, I will help you as much as I can. I'll pay for the first couple decoders. I got some sensors on my desk right now, and it's funny. I think we're still in this phase where a lot of these companies, they're just not taking helium seriously, like the sensor companies. So they know it exists, and now they're acknowledging its existence. Which a year ago they're just like, it's just like, fluff stuff. And now they're like, this thing's there. Like, we'll get to it. And I think I think it's going to happen a lot faster. It's going to happen not at all and then all at once. They're going to realize, Jesus fucking Christ, these assholes have 400,000 gateways and people are buying, hundreds of thousands of sensors. Like, we better get on this. And I think
I
that's
mean,
the next thing.
I think we're already responsible for selling out a lot of temperature, humidity sensors and all sorts of other stuff at various times. So
Yeah.
the pressure's there. It's just yeah, it's about being, like, persistent on that. Like, we're already starting to see, like, Helium mentioned in a lot of documentation. It's just this stuff. It's technical and it's not what your average, like, support person can go and, like, solve. And
Yep.
the engineer who wrote it is, like, busy doing the next thing. So that stuff ends up being slow. Hey, it's Neil.
Yeah. Yeah. It took me a second to get him in here.
It
And
took
it's
you
good.
17 minutes.
Yeah. Let me change Daniel over to Neil. Oh, he's out. But he'll be back.
It's because you called him Daniel.
Yeah. BFG Neil track back. Yeah, I think it's just like this super exciting time to be around,
Yeah.
and rocking, and
I
there's
will
like
make
all these
a
opportunities.
I will make a little call out since we've been sort of doing a bunch of work on it in the past, week or so or more. Is we did sort of like an overhaul on docs, um, because the entire network basically changes with our migration. So if anyone is, feels like something that's not documented in there, reach out. Feel free to make a pull request. Tell me what you think about the overall layout or whatever. Like, we want to make them as solid as possible. There he is.
Neil, what's going on, dog?
Sorry, my audio's playing up.
Okay, but you're here. You're crushing.
Yep.
Yeah, like if you weren't running a company that is moving thousands of units in the next couple weeks, I would be like, hey, dude, you want to write 9 decoders? Because you
It
got so
is one
much
of
spare
those
time.
situations.
Yeah.
It's a shame because 𝗪stack has this all built in that you can just use the TTN device repo, and there's like all of it built in. So you just select your device from a list. But unfortunately, they claimed it as their own data, so we can't use that data over on ours. So we should really do that ourselves and have our own repo, so it's automatically all in 𝗪stack. So eventually, we can get to that place where you're just selecting the device from a list and what version you're using, rather than having to write the whole decoder.
That's right. They changed the license on it, right? I, I caught
Let's
some
see.
wind of that.
So
Yeah.
there's a couple solutions, and this is kind of why I always wanted to do this State of the Network show, was to do this stuff kind of live in real time, and you see that like people are actually working on this stuff and doing it. And one of the solutions is going to be on Travis 𝗚𝗶𝘀𝗀 here runs a weekly show, Helium Hacks Happy Hour, on what is it, Travis? Wednesdays at 2 p.m. Pacific, something like that.
That's it.
Yeah, let's totally do a show on how to write a decoder. And I think that part of it is just getting, that would be for the geeks, right? To come in and be like, oh yeah, let me just like brush up my geek skills. And then those geeks can cruise out and help the rest of us folks who don't understand that. I think that's a great idea, Travis.
Yeah, that's a solid one.
Yeah. Let's see. Neil, what's new? We talked like 4 days ago with the nano tag. What's new, dude?
Yeah, so we've been talking internally, and we think we found some ways to make it even more accurate. So we're deploying those changes over the next few days, which is really exciting. And yeah, since then I've started doing alerts and things, so you can put temperature alerts in place now and get SMS notifications or email notifications. So that's a huge feature. So anybody that wanted to take this to a business right now and use nano tags to track temperature on fixed place stuff or moving stuff can do it. That's the idea, and white label the whole thing. So there's a ton of that coming on the Helium network. It just makes a ton of sense. So it's
God,
cool.
dude, it's so much coming. Yeah, yeah. And it's like I got to be careful to not over promise. Like, oh, no, this stuff is coming soon. But man, I feel like I see this stuff maybe 2 weeks to a month before most people, and I'm just telling you, like, I'm seeing shit that is, yeah, things are happening. Like,
Yeah.
if you're not building, you're behind right now. It's only going to get worse. Like, do something on this thing.
I got showed a technology demo the other day by a company, and I can't tell you who or what, but it just blew my mind. So this year for sensors should be ridiculous what we can do with them. And it's just going to change the game that you can't do these things on other networks because it's so low power.
Yep.
So I'm just so excited for this year to see what happens.
Yep. Yeah, yeah.
Love to hear it. Yeah.
What do you got, Joey?
I love to hear it. I'm like, yeah.
Yeah, it's cool because Joey, I mean,
I
you've
gotta
been seeing
wait
this
till we
stuff.
actually publish stuff.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Let's see, randomness and fun. This is a long one, but I think this is totally a classic problem. Is probably
Yes,
fairly
yeah.
normal person. Probably, I mean, we can all figure it out. We're all humans. We can all read the internet and bludgeon our way through this. But it's like, oh, you got one sensor for a freezer, and you're always figuring out like what's the right amount of time and how do I change the amount of time between packets and how many packets do I want to buy and all that other crap. I think we're seeing stuff. Neil, you're probably working on something like this specifically for tracking. I know Nick over at Uplink Engine is working on stuff like this. It's like, hey, let me just make this easier for you because it's still a little bit in geekland.
Yeah.
There's a lot
I
to
mean,
it.
anytime you're
Gone.
it's that lag or across the world here.
Yeah.
But it's that one of those things where like the layers of how involved you are in the thing that makes the story very different. So if you're playing around in console, this stuff is really confusing. If you've got like an app that's managing that device for you, you don't even think about it. But I just screenshotted that question because I want to like go try and add that to our docs. Like that's something we should be able to talk about there, right?
Okay. Do you need me to put it back up or you got it? You good?
I got it. I'm on it. Yeah.
Hell yeah. And then I'm seeing this thing come out from Frank and Amir on Twitter. They seem psyched on this AI vision sensor. And geez, you guys showed this to me a while ago. It was too much of a pain in the ass for me to figure it out, to be totally honest. Like I bought it. I was like, oh, cool. I'll put this up on the house. I'll count all the people going by. And then I just got stymied. And yeah, that thing right there.
It's because you didn't use the app to onboard it. It's so easy.
No, you guys walked me through it. Remember that? And like I think we did a live show. It was it's super easy to onboard, but to use, like I'm still kind of monkey brain. Like, hey, just fucking count the people going by my house. I don't want to be like JS7 curly bracket open 924 curly bracket closed 6 fucking packets. Like I don't.
Yep.
Not my game.
I don't know. I think it's pretty easy. But
Yeah.
here, I'll pull up. I don't have one, so for the vision side, but like it gives you a nice little chart. That's my temperature humidity sensor.
Yeah. Yeah. I think it's way better than it was 2 years ago. And I'm just being picky and lazy. But I want to see this thing where you look at it and you're like, hey, I want you to count how many people walk by. Because there's some training period that you had to do, is if I remember, and then you have to load some training data, and then the training data to find was a pain in the ass. And I was like, dude, I don't have time for this shit. So
the AI stuff, like it's so new right now too, right?
Yeah.
Like you have to load a model for people, you have to load a model for water meters, like it's all different. And yeah, it's growing.
It's my laziness and ignorance. All right, Neil, you get this question every single time. Pet pack, track pack.
Yeah, eventually. We're working on it. It's just takes time.
Usually you hold up that little orange sensor every time. That looks like a sex toy, and it's like, huh, what are you using that for? It's like, oh no, it's for tracking cats, not those kind of cats. All right, let's see what else we got here. There's
I think I've seen that sensor.
yeah, it's a funny. Yeah, that's the one. Yeah.
Oh, yep, there it
Yeah.
is. Okay.
Looks like
Dude,
well, I won't say what it looks like
exactly what
because
you're
then
talking about.
it'll be cursed. Hey, one thing, I don't know if you guys have you seen these 𝗚𝗏 CO2 sensors? Dude,
Not
so
No,
we
that's
got
new
a
to me.
presentation on them at Gristle Crew a while ago. That's how small this thing is. It's tiny. I thought when we got the presentation that it was, the size of like a regular chessboard. But it's a peel and stick back, and once you onboard it, you just walk around, slap it on the wall, and now you've got your monitoring CO2. And Neil, that was from, remember Bill Clee's
That's so cool.
presentation?
That's so cool. Yeah, I love the idea of doing that, especially as people reporting on levels like that of pollution are picking where they put the sensors. So this could lead to Gorilla putting it everywhere just to actually test and get real figures.
Yeah, yeah, and so there's rad sides to this. So one of them, let's see, Travis's question is that solar. So that thing runs off. It's got a little solar panel on it. It runs off of indoor lighting, and it says don't put it in outdoor lighting, which I thought was kind of cool. Like, what's going to happen? Will it explode?
Time to find out.
Will it blend? Yeah, so it runs off indoor lighting, and I guess you can't keep it, or if you pull it out like I did, maybe it'll start firing itself up. It's got some warm up period. But yeah, like no batteries, nothing. It just runs off of indoor light and it spits out a CO2 level. So that
Very cool.
this is super cool. It stumbled into my kind of idea train this week. Is Lee and I, because we've been in the food industry for a long time with Paleo Treats, we've got a buddy who ships out, a couple hundred meals every week, maybe a little bit more. Those prepackaged meals. He's got a 10,000 square foot facility up in North San Diego, and I texted him like, hey dude, would you mind if I put a bunch of sensors up at your facility? He's like, no, get those things up here. That sounds awesome. And I think that's the kind of stuff we're going to keep on seeing is like, oh yeah, I would love to be able to keep track of my freezer temps or fridge temps without having someone have to go over there, write down on a clipboard what it was, put it in, maybe bring the clipboard back and put it in Excel or import it into Google Sheets. Like, those days are almost gone. It's pretty amazing to see it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I mean, you're fighting the right fight on all of that stuff. It's just like make it actionable, make it insightful, solve problems.
You guys wanted to see it again?
Yeah, can't go wrong. Yeah,
I can't get the thing.
that is very cool. So it's just about as big as the solar panel and just a little bit thicker. Yeah.
Yeah. I think one other cool thing, Joey, that came from when you and I just met up in San Francisco is I brought up that 𝗱𝗏𝗀, which is a great example of a company that's making a really beautiful thing, and they don't have anything for helium yet. In fact, I got to check my email to see because I blasted them again last night. I'm like, dude, I'm putting this thing in a freezer tomorrow. Like, let's get this decoder running. I would love to see you do a show, and if I can be a part of helping that, let me know, of like watching you get a sensor for the first time. Because Neil, you probably do something similar. Joey's got more of the design side. You got a little bit of the geek side, but it's just like watching you go through and like, oh, well, they turn this plastic thing on a lathe, and here's how this thing works, and here's how it unscrews, and like it was almost like TikTok would call it sensor porn, but it was just like it was super cool watching someone who knew what they were doing go through a device and pointing out like, oh, here's where it's good. Here's where it's like, it's interesting that a normal person I would never know that plastic piece was turned versus molded or why you would make that decision. I think there's a really cool opportunity for someone to come up and just do, like a sensor porn channel.
I mean, it's fun. Yeah. It was almost sadistic. You were just like, yeah, kill it. Take it apart.
Yeah. It's like, break the glue. Let's see what's inside.
Yeah.
So let's see. Go ahead.
Oh, I can't get over the fact that it looks like a magic wand.
I was trying to get Joey to do his 𝗱𝗏𝗀 wand thing, but he wouldn't do it on camera.
No, I can embarrass myself like.
Oh, so good. Let's see. Jose cut open a nanotag battery and hacks the other day. Like, dude, I think that this, like a sensor porn channel, would actually be rad. Yeah, is that what it is right there?
That's the nanotag battery. Yeah.
Of course, you have one on your desk.
Yeah, it just disappears. Yeah. Well, I mean, why not? 600 milliamp hour. Yeah.
It's crazy. It's tiny.
Yeah.
It's tiny.
Yep.
Neil, what else is going on the UK side? It's like you are constantly under NDA to not talk about all the projects that are coming to you. But when we talked the other day, you were like, dude, the stuff that I'm hearing and seeing is batshit crazy as far as where the tech is. Yeah.
It really is, and it's just a case of these companies haven't heard of helium. So the second you introduce it, be like, oh wow, you solve a massive problem for us. Like they tried to do these solutions before, but never been able to, be limited by budget or technology. So it really opens up avenues, and there's all sort of laws that are coming. With big one. There's a big one with the e-bikes I told you about. If your bike's worth over a certain amount, that you have to get insurance for it separately from home insurance because it's just worth so much. It makes a ton of sense, right? But we wouldn't have known about that, but until we reached out to the biking industry, and the biking industry told us this is all coming, and it's kind of like merging into one and becoming a massive project. But yeah, there are some massive people that want to use helium right now, and they're so looking forward to it. And it's just a case of taking that 6 months to a year, because this is how long those kind of deals take, to walk them through the technology, demo the technology, put the systems in place that they're not just using an external system. This is all in their already existing systems, and it's no different from them to use. And then they have to train up their staff. So it's like, I know we're in a crypto winter, and everyone's down, but we are just getting to that stage where those deals are starting to come through. So now would be the wrong time to kind of like ditch out on it. You put in all this effort for all this time and dreamed of the future, but I knew that there was going to be a delay to these sensors coming to the network. Now it's here. It's like, just hold on, just keep going. Like, we'll get this thing sorted, and there'll soon be enough data to smash what other networks are doing. One deal the other day, we discussed 1 million sensors. One deal. So that's more than TTN have done in the whole existence. We talked about one deal.
Yeah,
that's crazy. And I'm sure other companies are having exactly the same conversations that we are.
Yep.
It's just about getting yourself out there, promoting helium, showing off the technology, knocking on doors and saying, how can we solve a problem for you?
Yeah, Joey, I know you got to bail 9:30. You got the stand-up, right? The Solana stand-up or something? I think it's going on at the same time.
No, I bailed on that entirely because we got plenty of other people sorting that out. I got to go sort out some other stuff.
Okay.
But yeah, you guys could go talk about crypto now without me. So happy Friday. I'll catch you all later.
Late.
Happy Friday.
All right, Neil, let me bring you up here. Let's see. So the sensor stuff is one thing. Do you want to hit the crypto stuff at all? Like, I think I get kind of tired of it, but maybe it needs to be said a bunch. Like, what are you going to do with your HNT? Are you sitting on it? You selling it? It seems like the dumbest question. Oh, did I lose you? Are you on mute? Yeah, there we go.
Sorry about that.
No worries.
Yeah, it just seems like the dumbest position for me to do right now is touch it at all. There's going to be ways that I can recoup some of that money with staking going forward as well. So my options open up. It shouldn't bother you that one centralized exchange has, delisted the project. It doesn't mean it's dead at all. If anything, it just means that this is a play by someone for some reason. And soon enough, we'll be on decentralized exchanges. So we won't have to worry about if our crypto gets stolen. It just sounds like the future, right? And that's all possible because of the Solana move. So touching your HNT now is just...
Yeah, I mean, not financial advice, but I'm not fucking touching
Not financial advice, yeah. And I think there's enough of us that are doing the same thing, right? We're just holding it out, chewing glass, building through it, seeing the future, and realizing, it's bright. There's a ton of data coming. There's a ton of companies coming. There's a ton of interest. Solana makes things a ton easier. ChirpStack makes things a lot easier.
I'm psyched for ChirpStack. I'm super psyched for ChirpStack, and I actually want to ask you a question, but I wanted to see, let's see, Bobby, Chad Dawson, you're selling sensors to bike shops. Dude, what sensors are you selling? Drop them in the chat. I want to know about this because that sounds rad. Let's see. So you had said the other day, Neil, that I can use the OUI that I bought to do something, but I didn't understand it. Walk me through what that means.
So the only way to get ChirpStack live now, I mean, it's not obviously, I don't think all manufacturers have rolled it out yet, but it's live. It can be used. So if you were to wait like a week or two, you could push everything through ChirpStack as long as the makers in your area are using the new update.
Okay, so I don't have to use the Helium console.
No, you can just stand up ChirpStack, but you need that OUI to tell the packet forwarder where to route the data with to your block. So although ChirpStack's really good and it's something that I brought up in the community today, it still costs you like $900 to get an OUI. So the people that are wanting to put chirp stack on a Raspberry Pi are just priced out at the moment.
Jesus, I need to pour coffee on myself. Trying to kill myself.
70 bucks for a Raspberry Pi, and then you pay 900 for an OUI and dev block to use it. It's just a bit, outweighed. And I think what Joey was saying is that we need to write a HIP about it and, try and get that fee down. So it be more like $50, $100, something like that, not 900. It's just off-putting for people,
I like it because I already did it.
Yeah,
make it higher. I want competition out.
I know, but we have to do it right now, and we have to spend $1,000 for something that's, just to put it into context, we could go join the Laura Alliance for 3,000.
Wait, you guys don't have an OUI?
No.
Can I just fucking give you mine? Like, I don't know what I'm going to do with it, Neil. You can have it.
Yeah, right, yeah. But just in context, we can join the Laura Alliance and get a net ID for $3,000. So if we were going to spend $1,000 on something, I'd rather put it towards the Alliance membership than we would purchasing an OUI at nearly $1,000.
Oh, interesting. So, and they would both do the same thing, and a LoRaWAN Alliance net ID would give you more flexibility. Is that right?
Yeah, exactly. We could roam over every network. So it's the wiser play. So the costs are a bit out of whack. It needs to be reduced a lot.
Why do you think they made it so high?
Just to stop gaming, I think.
Okay.
Just to put it at only serious people would do it.
Cool. Serious people are knuckleheads. Okay, so Bobby's selling Telematic Guru and 𝗱𝗶𝗴?
Trackers.
Trackers, okay. Very cool. Well, dude, if you want the OUI, I don't know how to transfer it. You're going to have to hold my hand walking me through it, but you can have it. Like, I'll do anything to make sure the network's easy for people to use, and you've done a ton for it. So if that's useful for you, let me know.
Yeah, it might be. Yeah, it might make a lot of sense. I mean, we've been offered a net ID as well to become a roaming provider. So we're interested in doing that. But yeah, an OUI makes a lot of sense. Cool. You can set it up and actually use it.
Yeah. It's there if you want it. I don't think we need to do it online, but or live. But yeah, it's there. We're connected. Let's see. ChirpStack is the right path. Travis had said something about this isn't ChirpStack. It can be any LoRaWAN server. What are the other ones out there? I don't know what they are. Do you know?
There's a TTN stack, so you could run their LNS server. I think there's a few other ones, but ChirpStack's the one they all kind of prefer. And you could, in theory, run your own console. So you could set up console again that Helium have made. That'll still work, but obviously ChirpStack's just the upgrade that supports things like Class C and device profiles, so you could just select them from a list, all that cool stuff.
Huh. Badass. Okay. Cool. So lots of options there. Rad, dude. I've wanted to use this OUI forever. So if you can use it, I'll be psyched on that. Let's see. I think this is. We go back to the price of HNT. Yeah, I think if you got the cash on hand, and I think this is an important piece. Is like, look, nobody actually knows the future. It's not a guarantee that HNT will go up. I think it will. If I've got extra money, I'll put it into HNT right now. Although I've got many other projects that I think for me are more important. But yeah, I think it's a reasonable time to buy it. And there's a pain in the ass to buy it. Crypto.com and KuCoin, I think, are the two places.
Yeah, I mean, I would always say to people, you lose a lot of money when you're emotional with your funds. Yeah. So if you read the news and sell, then you're probably being too emotional with your funds. I mean, if you're needing to sell because the money's going down so much, then you're too exposed to it. So just remember when it's going up to take profits. You haven't earned anything until you actually take profits. Yeah. And if you're that exposed to it, dollar cost average down. Dollar cost average your HNT in, so that you're not as exposed to it going forward.
Yeah, and that is financial advice. That's reasonable. You can read that in a book.
Yeah, basically. But seek financial advice before you trust my advice, please.
Yeah. Before you listen to dude with green hair in England. For Christ's sake.
Exactly.
Let's see. We'll go back to the ChirpStack stuff. I think this is really cool. Universal decoder. I know Nicky, you've been psyched on this stuff and working super hard on it.
Yeah, it's so cool. ChirpStack just has all the features that we've always wanted built in, and then Paul's done some great work for being able to purchase DC with inside ChirpStack, so it's all ready to go, and just excited to see it. And Class C finally.
Is the stuff that Paul has done for 𝗪𝗓, is that available to anyone, or is that only for his clients?
Yeah, he's done it open source.
Okay.
So it's like accounting for DC and usage on client accounts, so they can purchase DC with inside 𝗪𝗓, and
Oh,
then you can
rad.
account for the usage with inside 𝗪𝗓. So he's done all that work open source.
Okay. Oh, super cool. Um, hmm. I'm just thinking through the implications of that, but that's rad.
It's not going to be that different in the grand scheme of things. It's just another system in the middle that's replacing console, but just the possibilities that you can do from it just mean it's a ton easier to manage. So,
Yeah.
like, if we can get this device library sorted for Helium because we can't use the one from TTM, then we can have that device library. So you just select in which version and which sensor it is and which version of that sensor, click install, and that's it. It's all done.
Oh, it's crazy. Oh, look at that. There's my little room. Hang on. Let me get Daniel in here. There we go. That's who I wanted to see.
Hey
Hey,
guys,
What's going on, dog?
sorry I forgot about the time zone. I have the state of the network saved on my calendar. So like, oh, it's still gonna have like half an hour to go. And then I look at my phone and there's like this notification about the show being live. Well, I'm here.
There you go. Right on. Let's see if we can get this thing on you so everybody knows who you are. Um, Dude, what's going on with you, man? You're busy migrating over to Solana. You're doing a fair amount of work, I'm guessing.
Yes, it's quite a lot of work. It's actually exciting, but it's a lot of work. I think Paul would know because he's been also working on the Solana migration.
Okay.
It's exciting. It's like it's gonna be a very bumpy road for the next couple of months, I would say.
Okay.
But I think once everything's settled, this has settled down, and then I think it's gonna be good because there's a lot of variety. I mean, you can see by the AGNT price, right? Um, it's a great time to buy non-financial advice, at least personally. That's what I would do. Um, but yeah, a lot of coding, a lot of discussions and figuring out new infrastructure. We're building like a quite serious infrastructure for the POC, like proof of coverage data, the Helium IoT, mobile, Wi-Fi, whatever is going to come in the future. So we're going to have like a pretty cool API that people can use. And as of course, so in a way, it's good that the transition delayed a little bit because it give us more time to keep working on this and improving and making things really solid.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's we just got to do it. It's the way that the network's going to grow. And I mean, Helium is the first deeping project, and they learn a lot and improving. Let's hope for the best, right? We're all very invested in this project,
Yeah.
and we believe in it as well. So it's really hard for me to think that it's gonna tank or get worse, right? Because if you really understand the people behind, like Joey's always here, the team of the Helium Foundation, everybody's like honest and like really working hard to make this thing happen. So the AGNT price doesn't really reflect that. Um, so I
No, it's
think,
like a
well,
tiny little market. It's super easy to manipulate.
yeah, exactly. So man, just keep on building and believing in it. I think it's going to be super cool in the next years.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah. I think that, the other thing too is like short to medium term, the building piece is where you're going to make your money. Maybe long term you hold HNT and it goes up to whatever, $1 million. Um, or maybe it does. Maybe it sits at $1 for the rest of eternity. But if you're like Neil or Daniel or myself building these businesses that are actually using the network, it doesn't matter what HNT goes to. Like I'm pulling in fiat from running sensors. So yeah, you can always switch it out for HNT. Yeah, keep on building is that's the deal. You got a new hat every time. What's this one?
This is from our friends from Data Cake.
Okay.
nice. So is
And
the hotspot going to be ready for the move then? Is it all? Are you all ready for it? Like with all of the changes to how the data is accessed, no ETL, and
yes, yeah, exactly. So there's a lot of work in two things, right? One is parsing the data. So all the data is compressed into like binary files, and we need to parse them. There are new files being generated every second, basically. So it's a lot of data that you need to like ingest, process. It's basically an ETL, right? Like you ingest, you process this
ETL
data.
two?
When
Yeah,
you say, yeah, exactly. We are calling ETL2 on our end.
makes
They have
sense.
There's a lot of data that doesn't exist anymore. There's a lot of data that's different. So
Mm.
we're actually going through Hotspot and seeing what are the things that we have now that actually make sense and add a lot of value. There are a lot of things in Hotspot that are cool, but doesn't really make you. I think the key things that we want to do is like, does it save time? Does it make you more money and help your life, or just something that's just like a quick gimmick, or just so things that like okay,
Mm.
things are actually cool but doesn't make a difference. So let's really focus on the things that actually make a difference and make your life easier, because that's where makes the difference in people's lives, right? Because there's a lot of different things like depending on the data you need to parse from Solana or from the off-chain data. So there's a lot of things. There are a lot of moving parts, and we're trying to build this machine that's like a massive machine that ingests everything in process and then saves in the right places so that we can work from.
It's a ton of
Um,
work.
yeah, like
Ton of work.
yeah, I wasn't sure I was gonna come here because of like I went to bed at 4. I'm still sleepy, I think. So
Yeah. Travis is saying it's good to see everybody tired. I'm like, dude, I'm fucking waking up. I'm ready to go. Come on.
yeah, exactly.
But you're on the other side of the
Yeah,
world. You're over
it's super
in
exciting, but it's a ton of work.
yeah.
A lot of learning as well. So I'm really excited to just be around this everything.
Yeah, it's kind of cool to think about what you guys did before this, or I guess what we all did before this that prepared us for this project. And I think it's too early to say for sure, but I think this like our involvement in this project and your involvement if you're watching is potentially life changing. It's life changing. It's like it's almost to me like being a part of the NASA like shuttle program in the '60s, where it's just like, yeah, we are fucking throwing everything we can to do this thing that we don't know if it can be done. And it's cool. I see in at least in the U.S. I see a lot of people saying like, oh, why don't we have a national intent to do something big and audacious like we did with getting a man on the moon. And I think, man, come over to Helium. It's there. It's big, audacious. It's this big, decentralized network, and to get it to work well, it's going to take a lot of smart people working super hard, willing to make mistakes, and doing something that hasn't been done before. I think that the size difference between what Helium is right now and what every other LoRaWAN network is something lost on a lot of folks. TTN, the last time I looked at it, and before I say this, I'll say that look, all these other networks paved the way. They made it so that Helium could come along, that the institutional knowledge was there, that the community wisdom was there to actually use Helium. So I think what they've done is incredible. I'm psyched to see them going. I see them not like as competitors, but as just peers in the environment, and everyone gets to use the thing that they want to use. But just for a reference, I want to say that TTN last time I looked at was it 20,000 gateways worldwide, something like that. It's like 21.2 or something like
They
that.
they celebrated the other week, the other month, that they hit the 1,000 device milestone. So that it's not a gigantic network, but at the same sort of time, it's much bigger than us at the moment. But hopefully this year we should see more than that come on in a single year. Is the way I always look at it.
Yeah, yeah. I looked at it. I mean, maybe it's comparing apples to grapefruits or avocado trees, but 20,000 gateways versus 400,000 gateways is it's orders of magnitude different. And we get that word thrown around a lot, but orders of magnitude just means you throw a fucking zero on the end. So this is, if I'm getting it right, uh,
Also, it's older, right? It's been there for like much like double the time
is
at
what?
least. It's been around for like double the time than Helium has
Yeah.
in terms
And
of to the
yeah, yeah. And I want to make sure that if Think You sees this, like, dude, what you did is awesome. What that community has done is awesome, and it enabled this. Um, but I think this is the future. It's like a really really cool thing, and there'll always be a place for private networks to do that. But yeah,
Yeah, but like I think I'm very grateful for that, like for now let's say for Helium, but for the community, right?
yeah,
Um, I mean, I'm a builder. I think I will always be a builder, but I think it was like I finally found a project that I really got excited and get to know the community and get to build and then see a lot of people sweating together and building cool stuff. I think I'm very happy for that, and that's something that I really want to continue building. Um, yeah, because imagine I wouldn't have met you guys in person and like travel all over the place to go for the conferences and like
Yeah, yeah.
it's a cool community of builders and people that believe in the network. Um, and it's gonna have ups and downs, right? Like we know, and like the elevator, but just keep on pushing.
Yeah. Yeah. Let's see. I think the other call out there is if you are thinking about anything, if you have an idea for a business, for a sensor, for a 3D printed enclosure, for whatever it is, just get on the Discord and start talking about it and asking for help. And that is one of the coolest parts of this community. And I think it's why this thing has grown so fast is there are so many people willing to lend their expert assistance to this, whether it's Neil or Daniel or myself with amplifying whatever you're saying, or Travis. There's so many people who will just say, yeah, let me help you, or let me show you like the easier way to get where you're going. And I think that's the way that this network has and will continue to excel and be super successful. So very cool stuff. What's that?
Daniel hit the nail on the head though. This is the first project that I really got excited about building something sensors. It just kind of made sense.
Yeah.
Like I had the same thing. Like I was building businesses just doing it because that's where the money was. But like Helium's the first one for me that's come along and gone like, I'm so interested in this tech. I'm so interested in how it can change lives and what you can do with it. It's just like every day is fun. Even though I'm encoding screens and meetings and working long hours, it's just so fun. And that's what that can be for other people as well. They can build these fun solutions that solve real world problems. And it happens to be on a cryptocurrency network.
Yeah.
So I can earn whilst doing it. That's the way I always see it.
Yeah, it's extra exciting. Yeah, it's like the crypto is the spice, the meat and potatoes are the thing that we're doing the service. So it's good to have spice in your food. Cool. Well, I think the foundation has been running the Solana like open stand-up meeting, something like that, while we've been doing this. So I'll have to go back and check that out so I get up to speed on what's going on with the Solana transition, because I think that's a bigger deal than I've been thinking it is, as far as people not being ready for it or wondering what's going to happen next. But broad strokes, Daniel's working on it. He'll pretty much solve it. Neil's building a business on it, and I'll talk about it. So I think between the three of us, we pretty much got this thing covered.
Yeah, one thing that I didn't really spend a lot of time researching is what's gonna happen to the validators, the V agent T. I need to spend some time and realize what I'm gonna do with my life in that front.
Yeah.
Because what happened is like I think I'm so busy building that I just leave everything on the side and just let it run and work, right? I don't know what folks are doing. I think I'm just gonna do some research about that because I think it's important to know.
Oh yeah, that might be worth getting on and doing a show on, just so people can see that. Because I'm in the same boat, Daniel. It's just like, well, it's in there. I don't know what it must be doing something now. I haven't got any red alerts, but yeah, it's a lot of HNT just leave sitting there, and I don't know. Someone did a ton of work to do the validator, so
That's a great idea.
yeah. Cool. Well, I think that's it. I'm seeing Bobby want to talk about Wi-Fi and 5G, but I think we hit that last week. So I don't know what else you want to hit. If anything, it doesn't matter to you guys. Well, Wi-Fi might matter, but
Wi-Fi matters more at the moment. Yeah. It's exciting. We can't keep saying exciting. We're just waiting for it now. It's just been one of the longest projects that we've been waiting for, isn't it, for a while? Like it's nice to see their progress, but yeah, we just want to see it now. Yeah. Hopefully soon.
I mean, one way to think of this transition to Solana and what's going on in the background is to think about what's the fancy name for it? The regular word is just mushrooms, but like mushrooms take forever to grow this giant mycelial network all over the place, and it'll spread over hundreds of acres, and then after rain, all these things pop up, and we're like, oh my god, where do they come from? And I think what's happening right now, and there's actually a company called Mycelium Networks that's, I'm sure, has bought into this idea. But right now, we're just before the mushrooms kind of like pop up and bud out. And so it's still a thing where you're looking at the ground and you're like, I don't see anything happening. I don't really see anything here. And in a month or two, it's like, Jesus Christ, where did these fucking 40 million mushrooms come from? It's like, well, they were growing there the whole time. Like, that's what's happening now. So
we're definitely starting to see signs of that on Twitter. Like today, just over the last couple of days, seeing what's happening on Twitter and all of these new companies coming out and what they've been doing on Helium, we're definitely starting to see that sprouting.
yeah.
Like you say, like it's definitely starting to show, and we're just seeing some crazy use cases.
Did you see
But that,
Miroslav's tweet about the warehouse where they're making like a bunch of injection
Mm,
molded stuff for helium?
yeah, they're doing great things.
Yeah, I was talking to him
that's
about.
what I've been, that's sorry, that's what we've been talking about all along, right? Like hardware is hard and takes time. So I'm sure there was a lot of people building, and I'm sure there's still a lot of people building that we don't even know for like we won't know for a few months. So
Oh, dude, I've got the coolest project that I've just got to shut the fuck up about, but I forgot about it until just now. I'm like, this thing is fucking awesome, and I'm psyched. It's totally a hardware project that enables things that I want to do. So
It is, and I think that's what's happening a lot in the community. You know, people are under NDAs and they can't say things about what they know. So we only see that just when it starts coming to fruition. You know, so like I said earlier, a good deal and a big deal takes 6 months to a year. So those deals would have already been started again earlier. You know, they would have been started last year, and we'll start seeing the fruits of their labour coming out. It's just keep checking back and having a look. I think they're doing a really good job on the Twitter feed of promoting it now, and the new 1663 videos are nice. So it's nice to see them return and show off the use cases and things. So
I'll have
it's
to check
cool.
those out. I've been missing those. All right. Well, I can see what that a couple folks in the chat are way into mushrooms, and maybe that was the wrong analogy for them. But yeah, I mean, maybe it's the right analogy. It'll blow your fucking mind. That's the deal. Let's see. I'm seeing questions about the Wi-Fi stuff. This Wi-Fi post Solana migration. I mean, it won't immediately happen, but basically Solana enables it. Solana enables many other things to kind of start to happen, and that will be all the budding out of the various mushrooms that come. So there's that. And then what was the other thing? Oh, Neil, you've hit on this twice, but I want to make sure that it gets expanded on. Is for most of us, we're not used to deals that take a long time. We're used to, you want something, you look it up on Amazon, you buy it, it's at your house 2 days later. Like, how do they get more complex than that? And having been in the position that I'm in with in this community and seeing a bunch of these deals getting done, I mean, I'm in phone calls every week where it's just like an inch of progress. And it's just how it works because, you know, this guy's going to run it by accounting and that guy's got to take it over finance. And then the next guy's got to come back and they got to do some hardware thing. And the company in China's got to do this. And like, you know, 7 wazoo steps later, you're a little bit further than where you were. And then you got to run it back by accounting again. And it's just something that most of us who don't deal with kind of bigger businesses have ever experienced. But the speed of deals is it's much slower than we're used to.
The larger the organisation, the longer it takes. It really is. I mean, like, because some of the companies we're dealing with, there's 4 different departments we've got to go through just to get a trial live, you know.
Yep.
And you know, when we speak to the founders of these companies, they're like, "Damn, get that thing in now." But when you go through the business logistics of it, you're talking like 6 months to a year, beyond a trial of a few devices. But it's a long ass game. But yeah, it's a lot of hard work, but it's standard.
Yeah, that's just how these work. Is like, I don't know. I always thought of like rich people as folks who like won the lottery, where it's just like, oh yeah, we'll just throw 600,000 that thing and like make it happen now. It's like, oh, they didn't get rich by being idiots. Like they got there and became successful by thinking things through, making sure a thing was going to work, doing their due diligence, de-risking, and all that stuff takes time. You got to have smart people look at it from every angle. So. Yeah, you put me in charge, everything gets done tomorrow, and then it's all broken the next day, and you got to do it again. It takes fucking twice as long to do it in the long run. So
it's frustrating. It's so frustrating though, from the position I'm in and how quickly I'm developing solutions. Like, it's so slow, but you just got to live with it. You can't fix it. You want to roll things out next day, but it's just not done like that. Like, there's no modern company. Well, modern companies like that, but people are just so old fashioned still. You know, so sometimes starting a new idea of a new solution is quicker than trying to attract existing business. So,
yep, dig it. I'm seeing Travis saying he's looking at 3 people who'll just never retire. Yeah, unlikely. Okay. Yeah, totally unlikely. I think there's lots of good work to do. I'll give you there is a heads up or a couple of kind of what do they call them, housekeeping pieces. State of the Network is going to continue on Fridays at 9, as far as I can tell. Max and I are going to open up a new show called Deep in State that's going to deal with a bunch of the other different projects, all the other deep in projects. We'll have Helium on there as well, but that way we can open it up to all the other projects that are out there. I think we're starting to see like, okay, this ecosystem needs a show like this one that deals with more than just Helium. So look for Deep in State it'll probably be on the GK YouTube channel. I'll push it out wherever I can, but I think that's going to be super fun. And we saw just this last week, three big milestones. One was 𝗪𝗵𝘁 hit 1 million kilometers mapped. They talked about that. Two is Mike at GeoNet came on. Max and I did a show with him. That was a super cool live. And he talked about the possibility of staking on that thing, which is super exciting. And then 3, the React network announced their testnet and launched their testnet. So if you're on React and you have a PowerX device, which is an energy monitor, you can put that on your house and get that rolling. And I think that's US only for right now. Sorry, guys. But I think that's going to be another worldwide project. So yeah, IoT Mogul Max. Yes, Devin. That's
awesome.
the guy. So anything else you guys want to put in?
I need to have some more time spare to look at other projects. Like, I don't look at other crypto networks as bad as that is. I don't look at other projects coming up. So I'm definitely going to have to watch the show.
Yeah. That's the point, is make it easy for you to find out what's going on and be like, oh yeah, I'll pay attention to that. Or like, oh, that doesn't apply to me.
Yeah, we have a new surprise project coming up very soon. I think it's gonna fit very well with your new Deepin show.
Oh, super cool. Yeah, like there's so many things. I mean, they won't be behind the scenes once the show launches, but people are like, oh, you got to put this on there and you got to talk about this and this other piece is coming here. It's like, there's so much shit going on right now. Paying attention is starting to become a full-time job. So right on, guys. We're at 10:01. Thanks for coming on. Daniel, get some sleep. We need you to make this thing work. Neil, same for you. Make sure you guys stay healthy. Network's depending on you. Not like we're the only 3 people doing it, but yeah, we got at least 2 super important people on here and they're not me. So take care of yourselves, guys.
Cheers, man. Bye.
We'll see you later.
Bye for now.
Thanks. Bye-bye.